Hey guys, it's Ryan here, the Hobbies Man. Once again, and today we're doing another manga first impressions review. Today we're going to be looking at the first chapter of Ichi the Witch, which is a new Shonen Jump title, and this one's really exciting because it's created by Osamu Nishi and Shiro Usasaki. And these two, creators are very, well known and well liked for different reasons, right? So Osamu Nishi is the creator of Good Luck Iruma-Kun, or Demon School Iruma-Kun. I can't remember the name of the title, but Iruma-Kun, this one, and it's great. I really enjoy the first manga volume of it that I read. I really liked it. I know that a lot of people love it, that it's a really great series, and so everyone is really hyped about the series, right? About this new Shonen Jump series by this creator. Shiro Usasaki is the artist for Actage. This is the only manga that she worked on previously that was published, and because of the issues that the mangaka, the writer for that series, had, the series got canceled. It got basically removed and hidden away, kind of put up behind default, and so this creator kind of ended up lost. She didn't get to do anything else. Finally, she's back and she's working with Osamu Nishi to create this new series, Ichi the Witch. We only have one chapter of it out so far because it releases on the normal Shonen Jump under a normal schedule of once a week. And so, it's going to be a while before we get another chapter, a few days at least. And from there, it gets 30 chapters before they decide to axe it or not. More or less, right? Usually that's how long manga lasts, right? So, yeah. Chapter 1, also called First Hunt, because every manga likes to have its own kind of name for its, chapters or issues. In this case, they're called hunts. The first hunt is this introduction issue. It has 55 pages, has 3 color pages, and they're pretty, very well done. Like, I really like how nice they look. They're very, very pretty. And it basically just leads us into this narration of this character, teaching us, why he loves the world. Then we transition over to this place called Druid Mountain and a giant moose. It's walking around and suddenly a boy comes out of the shrubs and stabs it. And then we transition again to this boy coming down the mountain carrying this giant moose with him and getting to this small village. The boy brings the moose to the village. They praise him for making sure that they stay safe, for helping them, for hunting down this great, majestic creature, and for bringing it to them. And then the boy continues on throughout the village. He ends up going to a carriage where 2 female friends of his are, sitting, and he asks them, hey, what's up? What are you guys doing? And the girls are telling him that they're heading out to magic school. They're off to the Witches Academy, and they ask him to move into the village because everyone loves him and he'd be, better off with other people. He declines politely. He's like, thank you very much, but I'm not interested. I still have things to do up in the mountain. This leads into the introduction of his backstory. Basically, this boy was abandoned at 6 years old in the forest. He was given a powerful, good knife, and this knife was for him to kill himself. He realized this eventually after he ran out of food and rations, but as he was sitting in the ground ready to pass away and a wolf came to attack him, he clung to his life. He fought against the wolf as hard as he could, and he decided that he wanted to live. And so this boy now decides to become a wild man, right? And so this is kind of a transition here that we see. We get to see him grow older and stronger and hunt and learn and exist and become this awesome wild man, right? This, savage hunter character. And he eventually comes across something huge. It's some sort of monster. He doesn't know what it is. It looks kind of like a bird. It looks kind of like a person, but he knows that it's scary, that it's deeply, powerful, that it will destroy him if it chooses to. And so he gets ready to attack it and then decides to run away, kind of like a scared animal, right? And he decides to create tools, traps, and set up plans to take it down for when the time comes. Then we have this kind of weird transition here because this is kind of leading up back to the present time, but then it's not clear that this happens, honestly, but we're back in the present time, but in a different location. We get to see that the monster has suddenly woken, that these girls can't continue on their journey to magic school because there has been a stop. The road has been told to stop moving because the witches are coming. There is a hunt going on, and this magic that they're hunting, M-A-J-I-K, is like a type of monster, is very powerful and dangerous. These girls are excited because they finally get to see some witches in action. This triggers us to get introduced to the witches. Two of them specifically. We have Descaras, who is interesting because her name in Spanish means like, I don't know if it would be two-faced or maybe something like shameless, right? It's kind of hard to kind of translate it, but it's something like that, right? And to her superior, who's called Monegold or Mongold. I don't know how to say that. I don't know if there's a secondary meaning to that, but Descaras for sure, besides having like a French sounding name, is also a word in Spanish, although it's spelled differently. That means, shameless. And that kind of fits her character, so I like that. I think that's good. And the monster is Uroro, and it turns out that this monster, this magic, is the same monster that the boy, Ichi, found earlier on in the story. And then we also fall into this introduction of magic. So magic, as in the mythical power, is spontaneous. It happens spontaneously on this world, but it has a will of its own. And the way that it manifests its will is through these creatures called magics with a J, who embody some sort of spell. They have a personality, and that personality allows them to issue challenges to people that want to learn their magic. And the first one that ever appeared was this little blob of water that said, if you drink all of this water that I show you, I will give you the spell to control it. And so a woman decides to do so, and now magic is usable in this world, and witches are born because we learn later that men cannot really channel magic, or they have basically it's a very imbalanced system. Women predominantly have the ability to channel magic. Men have the possibility of having it, right? Kind of like in the Wheel of Time, but it's so much more rare. And even when it can happen, the possibility of them actually being able to use it is immensely rare. And this is set up for the end of the chapter here. So we learn that the magic, is sentient, and that you have to complete a task to get it. And we learn that witches are not actually magical sorcerers, but rather hunters of a specific type that end up using magic for stuff, right? And this is when we find ourselves in front of Descaras, who's in front of Uroro, and they have their battle. And it turns out that Descaras is good enough to beat it, except for one single fact. That the challenge set by Uroro is that a man has to kill it. And so Descaras cannot because she's a woman. Enter Ichi, who just suddenly shows up and he's like, oh, I'm a man, and stabs the fuck out of Uroro and completes the task set out by the magic. And so he suddenly gets enveloped in power, and his outfit changes, and he becomes the user of Uroro's magic, whatever that may be, and essentially becomes like a wizard king, because Uroro, his magic type, he's a king magic or something like that, which may be why women can't kill it, because it's king magic, not queen magic. That's not clear. I'm guessing that, but who knows? And Ichi getting magic is basically impossible. It is a miracle that is unknown, that has rarely been seen. And then this is where the story loses me, because the ending here is basically kind of this funny kind of comedic kind of element here, where Descaras and Uroro first are confused by Ichi just showing up randomly. Then Uroro is surprised by all of the traps that Ichi set. And the tone here is very different from the beginning, and I didn't really like that. And then Descaras has this kind of weird comedy routine with Ichi as they fight over, him being alive or not, because she's mad that he killed Uroro and she didn't. And so the ending is pretty good. Like, the last page is good, but the last couple pages, like the last 5 or 6, were not to my preference. I felt that the series was very clearly setting a very serious and badass kind of like Black Clover type vibe to them, and the ending there was not my favorite, even though it is also still reminiscent of Black Clover because of the comedy that Black Clover has, especially with the way that Shiro Uzazaki drew it. It feels very similar to Black Clover, but it was a shift in the tone that I didn't really appreciate. So I'm not sure how I feel about this overall. Like, I really enjoyed the vast majority of it, like 49 out of 55 pages, but it's those last 6 pages that really made it hard for me to say that I love this, right? And so that's disappointing. However, overall, I think I will continue to read it because even though I'm not really sure what inspired the series, there's a lot of stuff that I see here that reminds me of series that I love, right? So there's that, Black Clover kind of influence. The way that the comedy looks is very similar to the way that Black Clover depicts it. The world building feels very Witch Hat Atelier, right? And kind of the concept of this boy going to this magic school and being kind of weird because he's a man reminds me of a Magus of the Library. Although I'm pretty sure the character is supposed to be a girl in Magus of the Library, but they just come off as a boy for the vast majority of the time. I'm pretty sure that's how it works, but kind of similar concepts, right? And those are the sort of like magic series that I really love that have been finding themselves to be my favorites throughout the years reading manga. And so this story manages to kind of encompass that sort of vibe, and I'm really looking forward to reading more of it to see if that continues. I do hope that it has some more action to it, and I hope that the balance between the comedy and the action is better, because in Iruma-Kun, I think it's great, right? It's really phenomenal because the action actually informs the comedy, and in this case, I felt that wasn't the case, that it didn't work the same way. So I hope that changes, that they kind of find a better balance going forward, because otherwise I'm going to have to end up dropping the series because I'm not really enjoying that. So yeah, those are my thoughts on Ichi. I did not expect this to be a 12-minute video, but there you go. In-depth review of the first issue. So thank you guys so much for watching. Let me know if you read the series. Let me know if you liked it. And thank you guys so much for watching. Once again, see you guys later.